Thank you, Richa. Thank you very much. And taking your words, that character is very important. So before deliberating on the research, what is research, why research, and the ethics and the research, I would like to quote Albert Einstein first on two aspects. First, whether we are going to talk about the ethics in research or ethics of researcher.
Low power mode.
This is very important for the researchers here to know whether we are talking about the ethics of research or ethics of researcher. And in that aspect, I do remind the quote of Albert Einstein when he talked about that many people say that research or this knowledge is a part of the intellect or aptitude of the person concerned, that a researcher must have an aptitude. This is a normal saying. Mostly people say that if you are going to do some research, then it is required that the aptitude is to be there for the research, or you must be an intellectual person, only then you can research. But what we are perceiving in the words of the Einstein, Albert Einstein, that it is not only the aptitude in the research, but the character matters more than the aptitude. So first of all, it is the ethics in research or ethics of research, as well as the ethics of the researcher also. And in that ethics of researcher, we must remind the words of Albert Einstein regarding that it is not confined to the aptitude of the researcher, but it is also the character of the researcher as to how he go about that research. So when we talk about why research and what is research, as I told you earlier also on 6th of July when you started the program, again the same thing, that research is something to which is, we can say, to see by everybody, which has been already seen by everybody, but there are certain parts which have been left which you want to see. So research is something which we can say is to think those things which the other have not thought about. So for that you need the material, you need the literature. It's okay, you go through that literature, you review that literature, because you need that thing. You cannot work in vacuum. You can work only when there are certain areas which have been left earlier, and you have to work on those areas which were not thought by the earlier researcher. So research is something, in the words of Albert S. Geoffrey also, that research is to see what everybody else has seen and what nobody else has thought for, or what nobody else has done earlier. So this is what you have to do in the research. So hence research is the original contribution. Research is the first hand gift of the researcher to the society, because whatever research we do, that is not for our own self, that is for the benefit of the society, that is for the benefit of the community at large, that is for the benefit of a particular group in the society. So research is something which has to be done by the researcher for the society, and for that the original contribution is very much required for. So we say that if it is the original research, that only can contribute in the society. If it is not the original work, then we see that there are so many laws also, be it a copyright, be it plagiarism law. So I'll be talking on that also. So first of all, why research or what research? So what research is that? Research is something which you have already studied, or you have already listened so many lectures since 6th or 5th July on this part. So I'm not going into detail as to what is research, but the simple thing is that you have to do something which the earlier researcher have not done. This is in the very simple words, this is the research. Then this is also true that the research is there applicable for all types of the works in all the fields, be it law, be it science, be it medicine, be it cooking, be it we can say tailoring, everything. Wherever you see that every field requires the research, and for that novelty is required, for that the original contribution is required, for that the thing that you must do something new, so that your name would be there as a contributor. Why do we learn or why do we remember Professor Upendra Bakshi for his writings? Because he is contributing to the society with his original thoughts. There are so many other writers also, there are so many jurists also who have given their original thought. So why not we? Why not you? We can also do this is all these things, and it is applicable in all the fields. It is not required only that the law field is there in which we need a research. So why research? To know new things, because we are doing something for the purpose of understanding, for the purpose that to know what is about that, what is behind that. So take an example. When a child takes birth, then when he starts speaking, then every time he asks you, what is this, how it is that, why it happened. So this is a general curiosity, and research is nothing, it is a result of that curiosity that is now missing in the researcher. And if that curiosity would be there, then we will see that the research would be original. And in that, why do we research? We do research just in order to know the things, or in order to improve our knowledge, improve one's own knowledge. That is the idea behind why we do the research. So it may be for the academic degree requirement, which we are also now saying in the society, that the research, in the research, the students, they take admission they for the PhD degree, because that is there for their academic degree program, and that will serve or that will pay in the future career of that student. And secondly, we also see besides that there are other researches, for example, the publications by the teachers in medicine, in vaccination. So now what we are perceiving today in the COVID scenario, that we are waiting for the vaccination for the COVID-19, because that is a part of the research where that we don't have the vaccine, any vaccine for controlling the COVID-19, and we are waiting for that research which is going to be original. If this research would not be original, then there would be no way to for that vaccine for the COVID-19. So original research is always required. So why research? To improve our knowledge. At the same time, it may be associated with the medicine, it may be associated with vaccination, it may be associated with the computers. So every time you see computer softwares are there, and they are researching, they are doing their work, they are originally contributing, and that's why you see there are so many things in the computer software. For example, you must have started with the Fox Pro, then we have moved towards various other versions of the various Windows, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, 11, and then Linux, then Ubuntu. So many softwares are there on which we are working. Then data, that is 5G, 4G, 3G, somewhere it is 9G also. So these are the things that softwares are there, which are the result of the original research, whereby we are having those fruits of the original research. And that's why it is required that research may be there, and that research must be beneficiary to the society. Because if I'm doing a research, that research is not to be confined to myself, that research is going to be in the society, that research is going to be in that group of the society which is related to me. If I am an academician, I am writing the paper on the law or any issue relating to law, then naturally it is expected that the persons who are in that field, who are the belonging to the legal discipline, they must be reading that. And if there would be something like stealing from the others' ideas or copying from the other ideas, or if it is not original, then it would be of no effect. It would be not, we can say, consider as a good research. So for that, why research? It is the improvement of your idea, your knowledge, and to add into your original thoughts. That is what we see, that the research has to be there. So learning is a process through which you can learn and then you can contribute. And as I told you that without literature, you cannot go in vacuum. I'm just going to give you one example of Sonia Gandhi. When she started her career in this politics, then in one of the interviews she told that everybody was saying that she walks like Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she speaks like Indira Gandhi, and she follows Indira Gandhi. So what she told in that interview that before entering this politics, what she did that she has seen a lot many videos of Prime Minister of the then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi, that how she walks, how she runs, how she speaks, how she wear the clothes even. So that affect more, and for that it is required that you need to have some literature. It is not that without literature you can go in vacuum, but that literature should have an effect in your mind, and then you start that what was the missing area on which you have to work. This is how you have to work research. So in research what you do, that you have to write a research paper. You for that writing of the research paper you need certain informations. And then after getting that information you have to organize your thoughts also. So how to organize your thoughts so that something new, something original may come out, that is the main thing. So for that, as I told you, you have to study more and more things. You have to develop an idea. Then you will find that what is missing, what was not searched earlier, what was the ideas of the earlier writers or the earlier contributors, where they are failed, and what is the need of the society, because law is a subject which is not static. Law is a subject which is dynamic in nature, because law is to regulate the behavior in the society, and when that has to regulate the behavior in the society, then you see that the behavior is changeable. Every time we see that the new things are coming up and we have to tackle those problems. So similarly, law has to tackle those problems, and we have to research on that. Somebody has done a research on Article 21 in 1950. He'll be confining his studies on what the court said, what the law commission report, what was the original constitution, and what was the Constituent Assembly debate. So his work would be confined only up to that era. But now if I say that you have to work on Article 21 new dimensions, then naturally it is not to be confined of 1950 judgment, 1960 judgment, but you have to work in today's scenario as to what is the definition which has been interpreted by the Supreme Court of Article 21. And on that basis, you have to work. So this is how you have to change the things according to the situation, according to the societal needs, and according to the circumstances. And that will bring some new thing in your research. That would be your own idea of working. And that is how you can make a distinction from what has been earlier done and what you are going to done. So you have to organize your ideas, you have to organize your thoughts by having a look of the earlier work, and then you can do this thing. So the other point for a researcher is that you have some deadline also. Research is a work for the PhD scholars, that it is not for forever that you can continue to work. There is a time limit, there is a deadline on which you have to work. So you have to put your study phase wise, that what you have to do, you have to collect the data, you have to organize your thoughts, you have to write the paper, and then finally the final report. So you have to make a phase wise study so that you can reach to your deadline, and all these skills are very much required for your research purposes. Then for working, we can say that you have to see various articles, various data, then books, other materials, case laws, then acts, law commission reports, debates, policy reports, because in law it is very, we can say we are very, very beneficiary of the thing, that we have the Constituent Assembly debates for our historical purposes, we have the law commission reports for various purposes, we have the other policy documents. And because law is a subject which is coming from the society, which is working for the society, everything is within that. So we have to have understanding of all these things also, and we can do the good research in law for that purpose. It is not for the economics, it is not for the history, it is not for the political science or other, we can say, disciplines, but law is a subject which comes from the society. Law is a subject which is applicable in the society, And that's how we can have all these things in our tips, and we can have we can use those things in our working. So don't trust for the last time, we can say, collection of the data. It's a very fold work. It is not that today you have been registered for the PhD program and then you have given a topic, you have chosen a topic that has been finally allowed or permitted by the authorities concerned or the various bodies of the university, and then you started working. No. And for that working on that topic, you have collected a data in a day or two. It is not like that. You have to do work on various folds. You have to collect data at various time. You have to collect the material at various time. It is not that once for all you have collected everything. You need much time for that. And for that, it is important that the collection of this data must be in your mind. For example, if you have been registered, then that topic on which you are going to work, the synopsis, the chapterization of that must be in your mind. So wherever you are going, wherever you are going to search any library, you need not to see what is in the synopsis. That must be in your mind. And then you can see that this is the topic on which this is the material which would be good for your work. So you can have that work material with you. And in that, you should avoid the control C and control V. That is copy and paste. This is the method. With the advent of the internet, we all see that we should avoid this. This control C and control V is not a good thing for a good researcher, as I am telling you that this should be your original work. So just forget about control C and control V. This is nothing for you in your computer or laptop. You have to see, you have to study the material, you have to read, as I told you earlier also, that if you are reading a thing 1, 2, 3 times, then you learn and then start writing. This is not that at one time you will start writing and that will be your final draft of the research. You have to write again and again, and that's how you will improve. It is not that you have read some material and then you come out with a final drafting. No, it is not in the PhD, or it is not even in the research article. You have to write various times, you have to improve your draft, and then you will see that what was your first draft and what is your final draft. There is a big difference between these two, and you will find that the final draft is something which you can say that yes, this is my own, this is my own draft. It is not like that it is we have taken from some other. This is what you understood by going through various material, and then you find that you will be not happy with that control C and control V, and you will be in the habit of writing on your own. So getting material from the internet, it is free, we all know, but that free does not mean that you paste it by making it your own material. So when you are doing this, then comes the point of ethics. Because as I told you that it is the research of ethics, or research of or the ethic, it is the ethics of research or ethics of researcher. And here there is a very, we can say, a thin line, a razor thin line between these two aspects, research and researcher, because both are the related with each one. So if a researcher is doing something, that is his research. Research is from the researcher, and that's why this ethics is required for both. Particularly, it is required in the character of the researcher. And if the researcher has a good character, if he is not in the habit of stealing from others, if he is not in the habit of kidnapping, as you may be knowing that plagiarism, that is a Latin word plagiary, that is having the meaning of kidnapping. So that is stealing, that appropriation of the things from the other's work, that will not be there if you are having a good character, if you are having the ethics of the researcher. So what is the ethics? That you are doing your work, writing your article, but you should not copy from the other's work so as to make it's your own work without giving the credit to the others. And if you are not giving the credit to the others and making it your own work, then naturally the law will come into picture. And as you always know that earlier, when we were not having the copyright law, when we were not having the plagiarism rules of regulations of 2018 by the UGC, then we were having passing of law also. So you cannot pass off the things of the other so as to be of yours only. You have to work originally. And again, one thing that is being confused by the researchers or the others, we can say, who are doing research, is that whether it is the ethics or it is the moral. So if I say that ethics and morals are different things to some extent, it is not entirely different, because ethics for research is different and moral values are something different. Moral values are for the individual persons. For example, if I say that for thief stealing something or for that purpose of the earning something for the family members, that is his moral. Or something like some of those things which are not good for the others may be good for the person who is doing that, because this is his morality. This is not the morality of the others. This is not the morality of the group. So morality is something which is confined to the individual concern, while ethics are the code of conduct, code of rules. These are certain principles, set of principles which are applicable uniformly to a group of the persons, to a group of the society, or to all. Because if I say that there are code of conducts for advocates, there are code of conducts for the doctors, so the entire doctors community, the entire advocate community, that have to follow those ethics. So ethics is having a larger, we can say, area wherein morals are confined to the individual. Ethics or this code are related to the society, to the community, to the group for whom these code of ethics have been made. For politicians, code of ethics are there. For judges, code of ethics are there. If they are doing misconduct, for example, Advocates Act, because you are all from the legal field, so you must be knowing the Advocates Act provides for the misconduct of the advocate also. There are punishment also, cancellation of the license also. So these are related to the ethical codes. So code of conduct that I said, that is related to a particular group or particular community. And moral values, these are related to the individual individual person. So if I say that what is that, it is a sense set of difference. Ethical principles are a set of those rules which make you that something which is acceptable and something which is unacceptable in the society. So that are considered to be the rules. Now you must have heard the golden rule that do unto others what you want to be done to unto you. आप वही काम करेंगे दूसरों के लिए जैसा आप अपने लिए चाहते हैं. So in that way we say that this is one of the principle which is universally applicable. Do not harm the other person, do not waste the water, do not waste the energy, don't pick the flower. So these are some ethical values which you learn from the very beginning, from your childhood, at your home, at your school, at any of the social settings where you go. So these are the principles, ethical principles. These are certain ethical norms which are there imbibed in your own working style of your day-to-day learning, and it grows with as you grow. With your maturity, these rules are also, we can say, are coming to your mind that yes, we should not do this, we should not do that thing, and this is how the things are to be done. Morality, as I told you, individual, it may be there, it may be legal, it may be illegal. So similarly, the ethical rules also, it may be legal, it may be illegal also. And illegal in the sense that if it is ethical to do something and the law exists there, but if somebody is doing that thing, that is on the principles of ethics. For example, if I give you the example of civil disobedience by Mahatma Gandhi, law was there, but the law was considered by them that the law is not a proper law, that law is not a good law, because when we see that the law is enacted by the competent body, then that law can be challenged. And you have seen that there are so many laws which have been declared unconstitutional also. So it is not always that all the laws are legal or constitutional. So at that time it was considered that it is ethical that we will go for the civil disobedience. And because that law exists, that does not mean that the law is legal. So sometimes we say ethical rules are there, but those ethical rules may or may not be legal, or they may not be illegal. So this is how we have to come across with this point, that we have to follow those ethics which we are learning right from our childhood, right from our school days, or throughout our life. Those ethics are related to the general lifestyle, but here those ethics are also important for our research work. You may be knowing that don't steal the things, do not theft. So these are the points. And here when we are talking about the ethics in research, that simply means that research must be your original. You must not copy from the others work, because ethical norms are omnipresent everywhere. And one might be tempted to regard that it is a medium of the single, or we can say simple, this competence of the person concerned, simple common sense of the person. So what your common sense says, that it is going to be right or it is going to be wrong, then that right and wrong distinction is your ethical point, where you can stop yourself to work on that line. If it seems to you that if we'll be taking some others work, that would be not good, so be honest about your work. You don't take that thing in your work. And for that we have to see that there are certain principles, or we can say ethical principles, on which we have to follow. So in every book you will find those principles as to what are the various principles on which we find that these are the ethical principles which you have to follow. And I'm not going into detail for that principles, but some of the highlights on that principles, that you must follow the honesty. Honesty is the first ethical principle which you all must follow, and strive for that honesty in all your work. And honestly report your data, honestly report your results, honestly apply your method. Sometimes you are prejudiced. When you make your hypothesis, then you are prejudiced that this is the things, these are the things which are existing in the society. So if you are getting the data which is opposite to your hypothesis, then what you try to make your hypothesis correct, and you just make the data that is wrongly identified, or falsify your data. So be honest about your work. Your hypothesis may be correct, may not be correct after testing. It is not very thing which is important. The only thing is that you have to be honest about your research work. Only then you can proceed further on the ethical values. Then you have to be very, very objective about your research. You have to avoid the biased experimental designings. You have to give a very good analysis of the data, interpretation, then peer review of your research. So you have to be very objective. You have to avoid the self deception also. Sometimes we know that I'm doing the wrong thing, but still to meet the deadline, to get the scholarship, to get the fellowship, to serve the supervisor's thoughts, we do that thing. So avoid self deceiving yourself. This is very important for the research, and this is one of the principle of the this research ethics also. Then you have to be maintain the integrity, fulfill your promises or the agreement, act with sincerity. Don't take it that the time is up to 5 years and you'll do at the last moment. Things are available on the internet. So you have to follow this principle of integrity, and you have to strive for consistency of the thoughts in action, because it is, as I told you, you have to organize your thoughts. So until you organize your thoughts, you cannot put them into action. So that time which is given to you for the research work, so do it with your full integrity and with carefulness. You have to avoid the careless data also, and in this careless errors. Because I have seen for the last so many years, I am a research supervisor also, that if you are going to do an empirical study, then the data which has been given to you, you are not analyzing that data carefully. There are so many careless works which by the student concerned, then naturally whatever the result would be there, that result would not be a correct result of your research. And when the when the result is not correct, then naturally you are going to deceive the society, you are going to deceive the stakeholders for whom you are working, and this should not be there. Then you should be very, very open. This is another principle of the ethical values in the research, that you have to be open. If somebody is going to criticize your work, then take it with full heart. Take it with the open heart, that yes, I'm wrong at that point. Now I am ready to improve that thing as per the requirement, as per the existing position. And if these are the things with you, then naturally you will be considered to be a good researcher with all the ethical values in that. And for that you have to avoid or you have to respect and honor the intellectual property of the others. As I told you that the copyright law is there now with us, and you have, if you are copying the other's material, then it would be considered to be illegal. Though there is one provision under section 52 regarding fair use and fair dealing of the work, but that is not the all. So we have to take care of the intellectual property of the other researchers, other workers, other authors, and we should not plagiarize with their work. Then confidentiality and anonymity is also very important. Now, so far as the anonymity is concerned, if I give you the example of a research, if you are going to work on some specific disease, a virulent disease, which is very, very deadly in nature. Now, COVID is also there. Prior to that, tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS person. So, if you are going to do some empirical study and you are talking to the persons who are HIV positive, then naturally the anonymity is to be maintained, because this is related to their privacy, this is related to their dignity also, and you have to work with entire confidentiality in your work so that you can respect and honor. This is one of the ethics. You should not be open for that. Open for what? Open for those interviews, those material which you have collected during your research from the persons who are having this HIV positive, so that it may be open to the public. And because this is in a violation of their privacy, right? So you have to maintain the confidentiality as well as the anonymity of the persons to whom you are going to contact, and all these things are related. Then you have responsible publication also. You have not to avoid the wasteful and duplicative publication. Now, plagiarism rules are there, but before that, 2018, what we were having, that self-plagiarism was also there. That if an author has published one article in one journal, then by making certain changes in the title, in the paraphrasing, or mosaicing, or juicing the idea which has already been published somewhere, then they try to get it published in some other journals by some other title, by some other caption. Why? Because they want to have more and more articles in their name, more and more publications in their name, so that they may also score certain points. As we all know that the API is there, that this academic index is required for the promotion of the faculty member. So what they do, that if they don't have different ideas to write different papers, they write one paper and they will take out from that paper by paraphrasing and otherwise their own papers in published in different journals, so that it may be counted in number. And this is one of the we can say unethical practice which is prevalent still in the society, in the academia, I should say, which has to be avoided, which is not we can say legal. And then we have certain social responsibilities also, because as I told you that this is a research of this is a research which is related to the society. If I am going to work on the on the status of the women who are whose rights have been violated, or who are the victims of the domestic violence, who are the victims of the dowry, so we have to see that what is our responsibility to the society as an ethical researcher. And we have to take care of all those principles which I told you of the honesty, integrity, confidentiality, anonymity, objectivity. So all these principles we have to follow. So there must be a legal social, as we see that there is a social responsibility of the corporates. Similarly, there must be a social responsibility of the legal researchers also, what they do and how they do, what would be the impact on the society. That is very important. And that for that the social responsibility is one of the principle which every researcher has to follow. At the same time, as we are seeing that the society is heterogeneous, and because of the affirmative principles, affirmative doctrines, we are having the different type of the students in the academia. So we have to avoid discrimination. We have to follow the principles of equality. We have to not to discriminate our colleagues or the students, between the students. So we have to follow. This is also one of the ethical principle. And then the competence is very much required. It is not like that you have given the admission in the research or the PhD program. It is not like that you have started working on writing certain article or research paper, and without competence you can do that, because competence is not something which is a result of an accident. For bringing that competence, it needs the your sincere, intelligent, and untiringly effort. So until and unless you are going to do that hard job, until and unless you are going to that, we can say, untiringly efforts of yours, competence cannot come. Competence is not something which is gifted to someone. Intelligentsia can be gifted, but competence is not gifted. And that competence you have to make yourself by doing hard work, by adding some more time. If you cannot understand a thing in 5 days, give some more time, add some more time, give some more time, so that you can gain that competence, which is not, as I told you, competence is not a, or quality is not a result of the accident. For that you have to work hard. So this is one of the ethics which is now missing. And because of this hard work, because of this competency, we see that in society today the research work is just the copy and paste. The research work is not original, and for that it is required that we must follow these principles also. Then particularly it is in legal researches also, and in medical researches, informed consent is very, very important. If you are going to take the interview to collect the data for your research work in an empirical research work, then you have to inform the person to from whom, or your sample from whom you are collecting the data, that these are going to be the outcomes. The research would be published here, and the things will be open in this manner, and all these things must be informed to the your sample from whom you are contacting or interviewing. If you are not telling, or if you are, we can say, not revealing the things to your sample, then it is not going to be ethical issue with you. And you have to follow this ethical principle, that you have to inform the person, and then if the person gives the consent, only then you can proceed for collecting the data, for collecting the views of that person. Otherwise this is going to be very, very unethical for the person concerned. And finally, legality, as we are working on the legal research method. So what is the legality behind, so you know what are the relevant laws on which you have to work. So there are certain institutional policies, governmental policies also, and because we are from the academia, so we must know as to what are the legal provisions whereby this ethics is trying to be flourish, and unethical issues are trying to be controlled by those regulations. So it was on 1st August 2018 that UGC Secretary has given or sent the letters to all the vice chancellors of the university, whereby with one annexure, and that was the University Grants Commission, that was promotion of academic integrity. Promotion of academic integrity and prevention of this plagiarism. in higher educational institutions regulation 2018. So when this regulation was sent to the universities, there were certain objectives of that particular this regulation on the academic integrity and prevention of the misconduct in the higher education, because that was the time that it has come to the knowledge that because of the internet and all this free access to all this material, the original work was not coming out. And that's why this UGC, which is the controlling and agency for all the qualifications, that has started working on the regulations of this plagiarism, which is basically known as the plagiarisms regulation. So the main objective was just to create the awareness. Awareness in whom? Among the students, among the researchers, and among the faculty and staff. What type of the awareness? That they should not go for any dishonest academic dishonesty, and at the same time they shall promote the academic integrity. So on these points, the objective of this regulation was just to create the awareness among the students, faculty, as well as the other staff of the higher educational institution. At the same time, by this regulation, the other objective was to establish the institutional mechanism, that once we see that some student or some teacher is involved in this plagiarism, or he has misconducted, or dishonestly following certain academic rules, then what is to be done? For that, the establishment of the mechanism is required. So this particular regulation also provides for the establishment of certain mechanism, like institutional development, at the same time the departmental mechanism, whereby it can be said that they are the authorities which can find out that whether the particular researcher, student, or the teacher, they are involved in that academic dishonesty or not, or whether they are following the academic integrity or not. And at the same time, to develop some of the we can say the system through which this plagiarism can be detected. So these three objectives were there in 2018 Act, and this rule 2L of this 2018 defines as to what is plagiarism. So as I repeatedly telling you that plagiarism means the practice of stealing or practice of taking someone's other's work by stealing, making it your own without giving credit to the real author and just passing it in the society. So that is plagiarism that you have to avoid. And at the same time, section 2O of the same regulation provides for the script as to where from you can take this. You have you can take this from the written material, you can take from the ideas of the others, you can take about the videos, audios, everything that is known as the script. And for that, you have to follow this in your dissertation as a master's student, you have to follow that as a researcher for your PhD thesis, you have to follow that as a faculty or a researcher for your publication. However, one thing which is there under section 2O is there, the term paper, the assignment, whatever you are writing in your copies, that is not coming under that script, which is to be detected and which has to be seen under this particular regulation of 2018. Then there are certain stages in which you find that what would be the penalty which may be inflicted on the students as well as on the faculty members. So it is two-stage penalty which has to be there, and section 12 of this particular regulation provides for the penalty. Number 12.1 provides for the researchers. There are 4 levels. Level 0, that up to 10% you can copy, where this is considered to be the minor things, and there is no penalty for that. Then the stage 1 or level 1, 10% to 40%, then this is considered to be one of the one of the can say violation of the rule of academic integrity, whereby the researcher would be asked to submit his manuscript within 6 months after revision. So, and the second stage or the second label is under this 12.1 is that from 40 to 60%. If you have copied the work of the other, that is coming under the 40 to 60%, then in that case, your work or your work has to be revised again, and you have to submit after 1 year after revision. And if it is 60% and above, then your registration will stand cancelled. So this is for the students. In case of the copying, in case of the plagiarism of the academic material from the others, and if you are going to have this thing, then naturally it would be considered that you are following the principles of academic dishonesty, which has been penalized under this regulation of plagiarism of 2018. Now for the teachers, again there are 4 stages. Stage level 0, that is 10%, up to 10%, there is no penalty for the teachers. Then the level 1, that is the second stage, in which again 10% to 40%. So that if you have submitted a paper for the publication, then you have to withdraw that publication from the where you have sent that paper, and at the same time your 1 increment shall be denied. Then if it is at the second stage, then similarity is up to 40 to 60%. Then you have to withdraw your manuscript, as well as you will be denied 1 annual increment. If there would be more than and you will not be allowed to be supervisor of any PhD dissertation, for any MPhil dissertation, master's dissertation, for a period of 2 years. So this is very, very stringent provision for the teacher. And if it is level 3, stage 4, that is the similarities of your work is 60% and above, then you will be asked to withdraw your manuscript, as well as you will be denied your right of the 2 successive annual increments. And at the same time, you will not be allowed to be the supervisor in the master's, MPhil or PhD degree for a period of 3 years. And this is at the first round. Now if this is repeated, then in all the cases the penalty would be on 1 stage above to the earlier stage. If you are doing the thing again under level 1, then you will be treated under level 2, you will be treated under level 3 if you have done for level 2. And for teachers, if level 3 is repeated, the level 3, as I told you, 60% and above similarities from the others' work, then the teachers, we can say, it can be suggested by the authorities that the teacher shall be terminated from these services. So this is how plagiarism rules are there of 2018, which relates with the ethics in research. So every student, every research scholar, every teacher, every person who is doing certain research for the purpose of publication, for the purpose of PhD thesis, for the purpose of dissertation, they must take care of these plagiarism rules, which are applicable to all in the academia, because these are the rules coming from the UGC. And if they are being involved in any of these plagiarism or similarities, then naturally they will not be absolved from any of the penalty which is given under section 12 of these regulations. And coming from the legal discipline, we must follow as to what are the human rights, what are the preamble which is in our Constitution of India, what are the fundamental rights regarding privacy, right to education, right to equality. At the same time, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, all these speaks up about the privacy, equality, dignity, and these are certain points which every researcher must keep in mind while doing the research, because these are the universal ethical principles which must be followed by all the persons. And come back to our own Constitution of India, where we have part 4A, which speaks about the fundamental duties chapter. And that is the duties of the citizen concerned, and we all know that we are all citizens of the India. And one of the duties that is very near to my heart, relating to this academia, that is 51A subclause J, that speaks of the fundamental duty, that is to strive towards the excellence in all spheres. Now just go through these four words: excellence in all spheres of the individual and collective activity, so that the nation consistently rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievements. So research is something which can take you and your country to achieve those higher levels, and it is in all these spheres. It is not confined to legal research, it is the research in every field. And why do we say that our universities are not coming in the ranking for top 100 and top 200? Why? Because we are not following the principles of ethics. We are not following that originality in our work. If our work is to be original, so then we can have all these things. And as per my experience goes, I see that research is a bent of mind. It is not like that I have a vacant seat and the students are there and they may come, get registered, and they'll start working. Aptitude is to be there. Legal research is a matter of your mindset. You are coming to the research, or students nowadays are coming for the research because they are getting fellowship. The fellowships are being given for what? Fellowships are being given for purchasing of the good material, good academic material, books. But what I saw, it is my personal experience, that by that installments of various fellowships, they are taking the bikes, they are taking the lands, they are going for the branded the dresses, not the books. So if you are in the research, then do it honestly. If you are in the research, do it properly. If you are in the research, do it objectively. If you are in the research, then try to contribute something original to the society, so that we can say that we are a country which is having so much a large population, and we are also contributing to the world towards that research. It is not to be confined to a few minds. When there are so many minds in India, why don't they contribute to? Why we are not working to that extent? So follow the ethical principles in research. Do contribute something original. Do not go only for the money. Everything is to be there, and that's how you can collect this thing. And finally, I would say that come out with the original principles, and you have to show the nation, you have to take the nation to the higher levels, so that we can say, yes, India is a country with a large population and is also coming in the top 100, top 50 universities in the nation. This is only when you follow the ethical principles in research. For that, you have to be very, very ethical yourself. And with these words, I'd like to congratulate you all that you have completed, I think, this FDP of 5 days. And now the floor is open. If there is any question, I would be happy for that.
So the participants, this is a wonderful session for all of us. If you want to ask anything, this is a wonderful